correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be just making this up, but doesn't like a bright red Mars kind of...
Less than a week away now. And now you have to do a detention at 11 o'clock. Let's keep rolling.
Welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles to Squib's Corner. I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew.
And today, we're hopping on chapter 15, The Forbidden Forest. But you know, we got to come at you with that pre-show chatter. What you got for us today, Andrew?
Well, let's do a semi-pop quiz.
All right, yeah.
Where is Hogwarts?
It's in London, correct?
No, that's where King's Cross Station is.
Oh, that's right. Okay. See, okay, the problem with these quizzes, I was listening to one of our podcasts earlier, and you asked me a question, and I immediately answered it. But during the episode, couldn't come up with an answer.
It's the pressure. It's the real-time pressure that you... Yeah.
It's in Scotland, right?
Yeah, so Scotland. That's where they're, everyone says
It throws me off every time I hear it's in Scotland. I'm like,
sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I live in the Appalachian Mountains, or as people from out west like to say, the Appalachian Mountains. Appalachian. So we call it. most people that are from the South just call it the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
And we have a very similar, can have very similar climate and weather patterns to that of Scotland.
Oh, nice.
So it's crazy. So it's been overcast. It's been snowing off and on. 2 weeks ago, it was in the 60s. So we had a false spring. So we were wearing golfing shorts.
Yeah.
Short.
Like here.
Yeah. And then, boom, next week,
yeah,
maybe later this week, it's supposed to get down to the single digits again.
Yeah, I turned off my heater in my studio when we were up in Texas. I came back down and said, this doesn't need to be on. Came back, walked inside, 44 degrees inside. I said, man.
Yeah. So, every book JK's got a couple of lines or scenes in there where it's like, they had to go outside and they're wrapping themselves up. I've got, tons of patients that come in. It's like, hold on, doc, let me take off my jacket and let me take off my sweatshirt and let me take off my quarter zip and let me take, it's like, I get it.
Hey, man, if it's cold, this is a really thin sweat. That's all I wear. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need anything thick. It could be -12 and I'll have this on and be just fine.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't spend a lot of time outside during the day. Now I do, this year, my goals, 2025 goals, I have to run every day. So right now I have to run 3 miles every day.
Ooh.
So I'm getting up earlier so that I can get that done. So this morning I go outside. It was 25 degrees. Excuse me. And then it wasn't snowing. And then 15 minutes into my run, I got home in the front. I was just all white.
So is it sticking to the ground right now?
So right now it just started up again. So it stopped snowing maybe around 11 or noon today. So snowed for 5.5 hours, and it was sticking, but then it got up to 40 today. And then it got back down, and it's 29 degrees right now and snowing. So
see, the snow doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when it snows and then the temperature never goes back up. It goes down, gets in the 20s. It's like, oh, no, that's too dangerous to drive.
Yeah.
That's just ice.
So earlier today, the building that I'm in, it was built back in the 1890s.
Oh.
So it's really cool. Really cool old brick building.
Oh, I like
and
that.
It's got an old heat pump on it. So if you don't keep the thermostat set at 60 or above, it takes it hours to raise up if it's, below
kind of like the radiator heaters.
Yeah. And so, I feel like, when Harry and they have to go down to the dungeons during the winter and it's so cold down there. I'm like, I feel you, my guy. I feel you.
Oh man.
So yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I'll ask you one question before I let you get us started. Do you prefer hot or cold?
I prefer hot. I learned years ago. Do you know who Wim Hof is?
Sounds familiar.
If you look him up, he's a guy that
Oh,
he's
is he
able
the
to
ice
like
bath guy?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
he
Yeah.
was kind of like he didn't really come up with ice baths as far as medicinal or body,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he was like he's able to submerge himself into cold and last for a long time.
Yes. Yes.
And so one of the things that had just kind of stuck with me, and this was years ago, so I could probably be butchering what he was saying, but to paraphrase, he's like, people are miserable in extreme temperatures because they try to fight the extreme temperature. Right? So if they're cold, they really try to stay warm. And if they're hot, they really try to stay cool. And really, he's like, mentally, if you just accept that it's cold outside and you accept that you're going to be cold and then understand that you're going to be okay if you're cold, then you're well on your way to. So in both of those extremes, if I ever, kind of find myself like, trying to, and I'll just kind of, okay, it's cold. We're cold. Yeah. We're not going to escape the cold.
Yep.
Embrace the cold. Your body's, homeodynamic. So we're going to be able to.
Yeah, I prefer the heat when I'm working out, but any other time I prefer the cold, and I have that mindset. I'm perfectly okay with it. The heat, yeah. I don't have that mindset with, but the cold,
yeah,
completely fine with.
Yeah, heat I like because when I'm sweating, I'm like, oh yeah, detox. Like this is good. Let's go.
Especially when you're in the gym or something, you're like, this is a good workout.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into that 7-word summary now. I hope you listeners are mesmerized by this music. And also, you should probably memorize it, I guess.
Yeah, memorize the music. All right, let's hear your 7-word summary.
All right, my 7-word summary, I kind of came up with it last second. So it makes sense if you pay attention to the beginning and then the end of the chapter. So, good intentions aren't always meant to be.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is, what are these punishments Hogwarts is doing?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Draco was not having it.
He was not having it. He was not. We're going to talk. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. The big tough guy turned into the big tough guy that just does nothing but talk.
Yeah, he's a punk.
Oh yeah.
So at the end of last chapter, the brightest witch of her age and the boy who only has one heirloom from his father get caught by Filch for being out of bed at night, having left Harry's prized possession, the invisibility cloak that his father left him, at the top of the highest astronomy tower, after they successfully pulled off a plan to get Hagrid's illegal pet dragon Norbert away from Hogwarts before anything could go wrong. At least more wrong than it had already been going wrong.
How could you forget the invisibility cloak?
There's so many things. Why does it fall to Harry, Ron, and Hermione to get rid of an illegal dragon? Like, I mean, so many questions. So many questions.
Well, they mentioned in the first paragraph, how could they have been so stupid? And I couldn't think of another word to summarize exactly what everybody's thinking. How could you be so stupid to forget that invisibility cloak?
So speaking of the first paragraph is only one sentence, so we're going to go 2 paragraphs on you.
All right.
Things couldn't have been worse.
All right, that's it.
Then everyone have a wonderful evening. Tune in next time. Filch took them, being Harry and Hermione, down to Professor McGonagall's study on the first floor, where they sat and waited without saying a word to each other. Hermione was trembling. Excuses, alibis, and wild cover-up stories chased each other around Harry's brain, each more feeble than the last. He couldn't see how they were going to get out of trouble this time. They were cornered. How could they have been so stupid as to forget the cloak? There was no reason on earth that Professor McGonagall would accept for their being out of bed and creeping around the school in the dead of night, let alone being up the tallest astronomy tower, which was out of bounds except for classes. Add Norbert in the invisibility cloak, and they might as well be packing their bags already. Here's a clever idea, Harry. Why don't you just tell the truth?
Well,
Why don't you just say, here's the deal, Professor McGonagall. Hagrid had a dragon. And we were taking that dragon to 4 people so that they could take it to Charlie Weasley so that they could raise it in the wild. Maybe they didn't want to snitch on Hagrid? Is that what we're doing here?
I would think that's it. But at the same time, Hagrid, like we said in the last chapter, Hagrid could have brought the dragon.
Hagrid could have done it.
Yeah. Easily, too.
Easily. And here's my question. Let's talk about everything that we know
Yeah.
about Harry Potter, about Hogwarts. How did those 4 random people on brooms get that close to Hogwarts?
Well, I don't think at the time there was no protection. There was no need for protection at the time. But
Well, we know that you can never
you can't
apparate. You
Yeah.
can't apparate. But you think, because remember, if we go to book 6,
Yeah.
where
You have to be
Harry and
outside
Dumbledore,
Hogwarts grounds, yeah.
well, Harry and Dumbledore are flying back from Madame Rosmerta's, and Dumbledore basically does a thing so that they go through
Which
the
is
spell.
another
So you think
thing
that
the
you think
movies
that
got
comes
wrong.
later?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. But
Okay.
at the same time, for them to come in completely undetected,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a movie.
Especially
It's
since
a book.
Dumbledore
It's
Dumbledore doesn't think that Voldemort is dead.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's one of those things. You know, one of the things that I hate about TV shows when there's something like there's a very good reason somebody did something,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Why did you do that?" And then they just explain it so poorly.
Or you
know,
could have
like-
done this. Well, yeah, but then the story wouldn't be the story. So.
Yeah. There's
But-
no way we could get out of this. Just tell the truth. Just tell
Yeah.
the truth. Like here's the thing.
Well, but okay. So speaking of that, how would you feel? You're in Harry and Hermione's shoes right now. This is happening to you. What's going through your mind as you're walking up the stairs or down the stairs, and you're like, oh, the cloak, the like most important piece of
man.
this puzzle.
So dumb. Yeah, so dumb.
Unexplained.
They're 11. They're
Yeah.
11. They're 11. I get it.
Exactly. But more to the point, they're 11 carrying around a dragon going up the astronomy tower in the middle of the night and in a Hogwarts, in a castle, in a not a well-furnished, well-to-do place, a castle,
Yeah.
a dark, damp castle with, what we know is out there. It's,
This is the magical universe that we've fallen in love with, and we have to accept some things.
hey, I've accepted everything, and anybody that hasn't accepted it is wrong. So, so if things weren't already bad, when they see Professor McGonagall, she has Neville with her, which is something I always forget. I've listened to these books so much, like to nausea, but I've also seen the movies, and I'm more of a visual person. So every time I hear, oh, Neville, oh, that's right. Neville's the one that tried to save them and got kind of caught in the crossfire, and now he's just, Neville starts yapping right in front of Professor McGonagall, and she sees Harry trying to get Neville to stop talking.
Yes.
I mean,
Neville.
Of course you would be this, like I keep saying about Harry Potter, relatable. This is all stuff that would actually happen, and
Yep.
she's mad. She's it's the middle of the night. She's walking around in her nightgown. She doesn't even have her robes on. Hair's all messed up. She asks them to explain yourselves. And neither one of them answer. And I think the book actually says this is one of the times that Hermione Granger did not answer a teacher's question.
Yes. Yes.
She presumes that they pranked Draco and Neville, overheard them, and believed them too. Now, if that didn't make sense, it's because I said it wrong. So she presumes that she presumes that they pranked Draco and Neville overheard them and believed them too. So yeah, Draco pretty much knew. He's seen the dragon. He had the note from Ron's book. Neville overheard, tried to intervene, and wrong place, wrong time, kind of
Wrong. Good intentions.
Yes.
Poor
yes.
outcome.
This obviously hurt Neville's feelings. He's kind of an outcast at this school.
Yeah.
He's actually portrayed as, I don't want to say less able than everybody else, but that's kind of...
He is. Yeah. Not as talented, not as quick-witted as
outcast.
the others. Yeah, just kind of clumsy.
Yeah, and right here he's trying to do the right thing, and but punishments had to come, and they came in the form of all four students. Remember, Hermione, Harry, Draco, and Neville. There's four of them. Ron's not there. But they're all going to receive detention, and 50 points would be taken from Gryffindor. Well, 50 points per Gryffindor. So Harry, Hermione, Neville, 150 points. Yes, from her own house. And did she take points from Slytherin? I know she said 50 points each, but then that never... I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah, I assume Draco got 50 as well.
I would have liked to have had some dialogue of Draco complaining about that as well. And then she leaves with them. I've never been more ashamed of Gryffindor students. In one night, they went from being in first place to being in last place and lost any chance of winning the House Cup. Now, with these points, what is it described as? How they're stored? They're stored in hourglasses, right?
Yeah, stored in an hourglass, and each one has a different. Each house has a different colored gemstone, and so the Gryffindors are red rubies, and you've got blue, green, and yellow for the other houses. So.
I just thought it's a nice little detail they put in there, because when you think house points, you don't really think much of it, but when you think of this giant wall with these humongous hourglasses filled with shiny rubies, that sounds pretty nice. But
which if you go in Hogwarts, Universal Studios, the 4 hourglasses are on the wall inside the castle.
I've only been the one time. I don't remember a lot. Needless to say, Harry was crushed, not just because they lost the points, but he could hear Neville sobbing in his pillow for hours while they're contemplating the response from the fellow Gryffindors when they found out why they had lost 150 points in one night. It said, right? They went from... They were almost in the lead, or they were in the lead?
They were in the lead. Yeah, they were in the lead. Now they're dead last. And so, but he was right.
Geez.
Yeah, he was right to be worried. Like, he quickly became the most hated person in Hogwarts. Not just from Gryffindors, but from Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws. Remember, Slytherin had won the House Cup the last 7 years in a row. Or 6 or 7 years in a row since, and they were all ready to see Slytherin lose. But he did become popular.
I don't think they really cared who. I don't think they really care who won. Just
not Slytherin.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not Slytherin. So the one thing that was fortunate for Harry and Hermione, because news in Hogwarts always travels fast, so they knew that Harry, Hermione, and Neville were a part of it. So luckily for Harry and Hermione, and probably Neville, we don't really talk about him much, but exams were coming up soon, so they were able to keep to themselves and study and learn everything they needed for the exams coming up. And as Harry is walking from the library at one point, having made a resolution to stop meddling in anything that didn't involve him. Okay, a little late in the year to turn over that new leaf, but great. About a week before exams, he's walking back from the library, and he heard somebody whimpering in a classroom. And as he got closer, he found that it was Professor Quirrell, and it sounded like he was being threatened. And Quirrell leaves, and he's wiping his eyes. He's all flustered, and he doesn't see Harry. Harry walks in, and there's a door open on the other end of the classroom, and the door is open. And he's like, I know that was Snape. I would bet 12 Philosopher's Stones or Sorcerer's Stones that Snape had gone through that door. And it sounded like Quirrell had given in, like was being threatened. And, Harry thinks that Quirrell has given in to Snape's threats.
It's just a lot happening all at once.
Which she does really good at the end of the books about, you've got different things happening. And this is a good example of her things kind of accumulate and
circle back around and
compound and yeah.
But no, really, it's a lot. They just got all those points taken away. And now, oh yeah, that's right, exams. Yeah, I could totally think about that right now.
Those, yeah.
Ages away. Oh crap, they're right around the corner now.
Yeah, a week away.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's still ages. So Harry went back to the library to tell Ron and Hermione what he had heard and seen. They all wanted to jump into action, but Hermione recommended they go to who? Who?
Maybe the headmaster. Maybe go tell the greatest wizard alive what's going on.
Yeah, or anybody, any teacher
Any
at all,
adult.
period. But Dumbledore, yeah, he would definitely be the one to be like, oh,
Yeah.
let me rectify this situation easily. I am the boss. So finally, a good suggestion. But Harry said, well, they have no proof, and Quirrell would be too scared to back them up, and Dumbledore would just believe Snape. And yeah, I see Harry's point.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
but you can still tell him what you think is going on.
You're wrong.
Well, and really, if they did that, let's think about, things that happen over and over. Dumbledore would have said, I trust Professor Snape
Yes, he would have. Yes.
with my life. That's what he said. I trust Professor Snape. I have no reason not to trust Professor Snape.
So yeah, knowing what he would have said. Yeah, I mean, even if they
they don't know this at this point. Yeah, they don't know that at this point, but
that's probably what he would have said.
yeah.
I can almost guarantee it. But the following morning, Harry, Hermione, and Neville received notes that they would be serving detentions at 11 o'clock and that they would need to meet Filch
At
in
night.
the entrance hall. Yeah, 11 o'clock at night.
Exams are a week away. Less than a week away now. And now you have to do a detention at 11 o'clock. Let's keep rolling here because it only gets a little more fantastic.
Oh, yeah, just wait. They meet Filch that night, and Draco was already there. So that's great. Oh, we got to do it with him, huh? Yeah. Filch tells him to follow me to the forest, and he leads him to the Forbidden Forest. Not just the forest or the field or the yard out back. The Forbidden Forest at 11 o'clock at night. Luckily, they were going to work with Hagrid. So Harry kind of,
Yeah, how bad can this be? We're going to be with Hagrid. We love that guy.
Yeah. But as Filch is about to leave, he proclaims that he'll be back at dawn to get the kids. If they're still alive.
Yeah.
But
So your
at
detention,
dawn,
your 11-year-old kids the week before exams have to stay up all night.
Yeah.
What are we doing here, Hogwarts?
And then presumably
Reckless.
go straight to class.
Yeah. If they're still in one piece.
So at dawn, what would we think dawn is? 5 or 6?
Definitely past 6.
Yeah.
Dawn is... I don't know if dawn is technically when the sun is up or when it just gets bright.
I would say when it just starts cresting.
Because dawn to dusk,
Yeah.
dusk, it's not nighttime, but it's getting darker.
Yeah.
So maybe dawn is when it's getting brighter.
Well, let's assume it's 6. That's, what, 7 hours
7
of
hours?
detention?
What are we doing here?
That is unheard of. I mean,
gosh.
it is the wizarding world, and Hagrid actually does mention at some point. Sorry if I'm taking any part of your line here, but Hagrid does mention that because Draco asks, "Well, can't we just write lines?
Can't we
or
just do
something?"
lines? Yeah. What good's that gonna do?
Yeah, what good's that gonna do? Speaking of Draco with some panic in his voice says that he's not going to go into the forest, to which Hagrid replies that, oh yeah, he's going to go into the forest and serve as detention if he wants to stay at Hogwarts. So now we're threatening.
Yeah. You have 2 choices. You either go into the Forbidden Forest
And do your
where
7
I'm-
hours of detention.
I, Hagrid, am going to take my crossbow.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can get expelled. It seems like we've got 2 extremes here.
At 11
2
o'clock
extremes.
at night. Oh my God.
At
So
11 o'clock, so survive for the next 7 hours.
yeah, these 2, 11, or these 4? Or is there 3? There's 4, right?
What are we asking?
Because we got Hermione.
4 students.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
4
yeah, you got
students.
the 4 11-year-olds, first-year students have to go into the Forbidden Forest, or they'll be expelled.
Well, and then Hagrid tells them what they're doing. So he points to some shiny, silvery stuff that's on the ground. And he tells them that it's unicorn blood, and that they're going to go find the injured unicorn. Okay, I can get that. Okay, we're going to go find the unicorn. I get it.
Well, first of all, we're gonna find what? What
Yeah.
are we finding?
Yeah. To Harry, I'm sure he's like, "Whoa, unicorns! Wow, that's wild." Okay,
Yeah,
unicorns. Yeah, we
this,
can do
this
that.
fictitious animal.
Yeah.
We're gonna go find it. Oh, cool.
Yeah. But Filch on the way down there's already been like, "Yeah,
Oh, he's been reaming him the whole
the
time.
forest. Good luck."
But have your
If
wits
it,
about
if
you.
it, it's like if it was up to me, I'd have you hanging from the ceiling in shackles in the dungeon. It's like,
Oh,
dang,
he's
Filch.
he's so happy reminiscing about
yeah.
it.
I've still got him oiled up in case I ever get to use it. It's like, good gracious. But then he also tells him that he found a dead unicorn last week, and if they find the injured unicorn, they might have to put it out of its misery if it's too far gone. So now, not only do these 11-year-olds, if they find an injured unicorn, we're gonna have to kill it.
What a detention! And this is Harry's. This is his first detention, right?
Yes, first detention of many. Poor Harry.
Well, it would be Draco. It would be all their first detention.
Yeah,
All of them,
I would,
right?
Yeah.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
I mean, talk
Yeah.
about like setting an example right out the gate. Like, hey, you screw up, this is what's gonna 7-hour
Yeah.
detention in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I think the only year Harry doesn't get detention is when Lupin is the professor. I'd have to think. I don't
Possibly.
think he gets.
Man, I wish he would have been around a lot longer. What
yeah.
a great character.
Yeah.
He did. I don't know if he did the whole book, but years ago there was videos going around of him like reading a chapter out of the Harry Potter book, and he sounded amazing. And everyone's like,
The actor that played Lupin?
yeah.
Oh, that's
Everyone
awesome.
said just do it already. Put out your version of an audiobook for this.
We'll all download it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Yeah. So they got to go find an injured unicorn. And then he tells the kids that, look, you're going to be safe in the forest as long as you're with Fang and me. So Hagrid, Harry, and Hermione, and Draco's like, oh, I'll take Fang. And he's like, oh, Fang's a wimp. Fang's scared of everything. Good luck with that. So Hagrid, Harry, and Hermione, they go one way. Draco, Neville, and Fang go another way. And he says, shoot up green sparks in the air if you find it. If you're in danger, shoot up red sparks. Easy enough. So now Harry, they're in the Forbidden Forest. So he's like, you think it was a werewolf that could have killed the unicorn? And Hagrid's like, no, wouldn't have been a werewolf. They're not fast enough. Unicorns are really difficult to catch. They're really magical creatures. And then Hagrid sees something and tells Harry and Hermione to get behind him. He pulls out his crossbow. So my man Hagrid is coming into this detention armed. He is locked and loaded. Because he sees something in the distance. Something sounds like it was slithering over dead leaves, like it was dragging a cloak or something. But then the sound stops. And then Hagrid says, he's like, yeah, there's something in here that shouldn't be. And it's like, Hagrid, be a responsible individual. Get the 11-year-olds out of the forest then.
Right.
At that moment when you're like, yeah, there's something in here that shouldn't be here, get the 11-year-olds away.
So wouldn't this... Okay. I don't mean to cut you off, but real quick. So the incantations for... Supposedly, the incantations for these spells for the green sparks, it looks like it's called Vertimilius is an incantation for the green sparks.
Verde would be green, yeah.
Yeah, for the red one would be Vermilius. There's Vertimilius for green and Vermilius for red. Now, okay, when he's showing them how to do these sparks, and I'm assuming they just know how to do it somehow. I wish that would have been included, that he told them the spell to do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't this have been a perfect time to teach them Protego? Like, perfect time. Protego, it's a shield term.
Yeah. We don't really get into specifics on the classes in the first book. We know that in Charms, Wingardium Leviosa, we get it. But really, they don't get too deep into the classes. I think, there's a couple of, obviously, potions classes. But I feel like in the later books, you get more of what they're learning in the class.
Yeah, it would be a nice thing in the HBO series reboot. Although I could see a lot of people having issues with it, but because J.K. Rowling is going to be a part of it, so it would be nice if they included more of the classes and how they learn their spells and stuff like that.
I'm okay with adding to,
as long as it makes sense.
As long as it makes sense,
and it's coming from J.K.
If it's coming from J.K., but you add some classes in there and stuff. Don't change any of the outcome of the story. Don't contradict any of the outcome of it. And don't leave out, it's like the movies, which book was, or which movie was it, the 7th movie, where they come and they burn down the burrow.
Oh, yeah.
Death Eater. And it's like, that never happened. And then you leave other things out. And it's like, no, don't add scenes in there and then take away.
Expand upon scenes.
Yeah, don't do that.
We would like to see the unseen, the unwritten, the unsaid. We would like to see that stuff.
Yeah, I'm cool. I would love to see, some of that stuff because Hagrid, as you're reading the book, he does just say it like, okay, shoot up the green sparks and then shoot up the red sparks. Like it's something that they should know how to do already.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've always thought that because at this point they've only learned. I think we've only seen them learn Wingardium Leviosa, and I think so at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
So anyway, that's That's a good thought. So Hagrid, stops them. There's something in there that shouldn't be. After walk a little more, they meet a centaur named Ronan, who shakes Hagrid's hands. Like, they know each other, which is great. And he asks Ronan if he's seen anything about an injured unicorn. He responds with something deep. It's a kind of a cool foreshadowing line. Always the innocent are the first victims. So it has been for ages past. So it is now. Which is a cool line. Which is a really cool. I mean,
yeah, and then
really cool line.
Then they mess up that cool line with Mars is bright tonight.
Mars is bright tonight. Mars is particularly bright tonight. We get it.
I used up all my cool words.
Yeah. Mars is bright tonight.
Oh, man. Yeah, meeting a centaur. Jeez. I mean, that takes your terrible detention and turns it into, whoa, this is actually kind of neat.
Yeah. If there weren't something in the forest that isn't supposed to be here that's killing unicorns, sweet, a centaur.
Right? I mean, they probably don't even, at least Harry knows nothing about centaurs.
Absolutely not.
Knows nothing about unicorns, I would assume.
Yeah.
He knows nothing about any of this right now. I mean, I think I forget which book is it in, but somebody was it this one? Somebody says, Harry, he doesn't know anything. Well, I do know some things. I know a little bit about math.
Yeah, that's earlier. Yeah, I do know some things. He doesn't know anything. Yeah, they're in the cottage at the sea.
But yeah, with these centaurs, it does sound like a lot of foreshadowing to me, except their foreshadowing is pretty vague, and Hagrid does not enjoy any part of their foreshadowing, as it's just complete and utter rubbish to him, because like we were just talking about, they come back with he just kind of stands there and says, well, Mars is bright tonight. Unusually bright, and it's no help whatsoever. I mean, I was thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be just making this up, but doesn't like a bright red Mars kind of portray like bloodshed? Isn't there's some folklore about that?
Oh, let's see.
Because it does make sense with the unicorn. There's bloodshed right there, and maybe that's what they're referencing. Like, there's going to be a lot of bloodshed, a lot of terrible things happening. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
I don't know if it's. I know that sailors used to have a thing. Red at night, sailor's delight. Red in the morning, sailor's warning. Something like that. I don't know, but I could see.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. I think that's pretty much. I think we're right on there with that.
Yeah.
But then, so now a second centaur comes out. This one's called Bane, and when asked about seeing anything off, Bane answers, "Mars is bright tonight." So now we're just,
we're noticing a trend for sure.
Yeah, it's like you ask somebody a question and then they say something stupid, and you're like, well, okay, let me ask this person. They must have some sense. And then they say something stupid too, and you're like, well, okay, I'm gonna give up now.
Well, and in their defense, right? In their defense, astrologically speaking, it's like you said. Have you seen anything off? Mars is bright tonight. So some stuff's going down. Mars is bright tonight. So technically they are answering it, but just not, obviously Hagrid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hagrid does go on to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
As they leave, Bane and Ronan, Hagrid fires off. Never try to get a straight answer out of a centaur. Ready stargazer is not interested in anything closer than the moon. which kind of confused me because I think he does say centaurs are nice because if you need a word, they're always there, to give advice. And then the next instance,
deep.
he's like, oh, yeah, he says they're deep.
Yeah, this is a real deep, but I mean, you look at Hagrid's temperament and personality.
Yeah.
Right, he's a very
Get
have you
straight
seen
to the
anything
point.
off? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Let's not beat around the bush.
Kind of like in a lot of the political videos I've been saying, they ask it a question, just yes or no, just yes or no, just yes or no.
No. Yeah, no. None of them can do that.
No. So we learn that there are a lot of centaurs in the Forbidden Forest and that they're really wise. After walking for a little bit, Hermione sees red sparks, and Hagrid runs off. Remember, red sparks means, hey, something's going on, we're in danger, come get us. And now Harry and Hermione are alone at night in the Forbidden Forest with a possible dead
with a possible dead unicorn, and there's something in the forest
and
that should
around.
not be here.
And then they probably got Filch in the back of their mind.
Book one.
Yeah.
Love it.
After some time, longer than Harry would have liked, Hagrid came back with Neville, Draco, and Fang, which Draco, if they were going to get split, Draco was taking Fang. And Hagrid just, hey, well, okay, he's a ready coward. So, might as well be going by yourself. But Malfoy, being Malfoy, had snuck up behind Neville and scared him, thus causing the red sparks, which Hagrid thinks will have scared away whatever it is they're trying to search for, or catch, or the unicorn. Pretty much just messed everything up. So they switch groups, and now Harry is with Malfoy and Fang, which, the preceding, they actually get along pretty well, I thought. They walked for about half an hour deep into the Forbidden Forest, and like I said, I think they got along pretty. I mean, I guess they're pretty distracted. They're not really caring about their stupid little quarrel.
Not a chance. Send me home.
Yeah.
Send me home. I'm 11 years old. We've got something in here killing unicorns, and unicorns are powerful magical creatures. I'm an 11-year-old studying for exams of history of magic. I'm not walking deeper into the forest. I know I'm a Gryffindor, and I'm brave, but send me home. I'm out. I don't do that.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Because it's like, what does it describe? Like, as they're walking in, it's already dark, and the forest makes it even darker.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, it gets so tight. Like, but, and, kind of a positive note, they are seeing more and more of the silvery puddles. So at least the objective of them on this
if you
walk,
could call that positive, I guess.
I mean, well, really, here's one of those
more
things.
blood. I feel better.
It's like the sooner we get this over with,
the
sooner we're out of the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah, okay.
So they're seeing the blood on the ground. They're seeing it on the roots of trees. And then kind of in this clearing, they see something that's bright white. And they inch closer and saw that it was the unicorn. And unfortunately, it was dead. Yeah. And which he just says was just such, he just felt so sad seeing it sprawled there on the ground. And so he's about to take a step forward, and then out of the shadows, because there were shadows, that's how bright the unicorn was, a hooded figure came crawling towards the unicorn. That's another absolutely nope moment for me. There is no being scared to move. I'm running as fast as I can after I trip Draco Malfoy.
Just do the old put your foot behind his leg and push him over.
I am I'm doing some sort of body bind on Malfoy, and I'm out of there. So this hooded figure comes crawling towards the unicorn, and when it gets to the unicorn, it leans over it, and it begins drinking the unicorn's blood from the wound in its side.
No
Malfoy screams. He runs. Fang runs right after him, but Harry doesn't move. He's scared, and he can't move. So the hooded figure looks up and sees Harry. It stands up, and it heads towards Harry. And as he's doing that, his scar bursts with pain, like his head is on fire. And the pain makes him stagger backwards. Blinded by the pain, he hears hooves galloping, and then notices a centaur jump in and charges right at the hooded figure.
So it's a nice thing that the scar comes back into play, like you keep saying. JK just comes back to things, and there's a reason. There's only one reason why the scar keeps hurting, and from whom put it there. You know, it's just, it's great. Yeah. But I will say, so in the movies, I'm pretty sure this part, whatever's drinking the blood, kind of looks like a Dementor, right? And they could have done something a little different to make it not look like a Dementor. Because I'm pretty sure it was flying.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it does hover.
Yeah, and I was like, no, that's not what's going on here. What's going on? Who's doing it cannot fly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I saw it in the movies, I thought it was, that's our first glimpse at a Dementor, but it's not. But this is drinking the unicorn blood. Just could you imagine somebody just drinking the blood and looking up at you, blood all over? I mean, hooded, but you got to still imagine. Oh, man.
I mean, because the unicorn is giving off some light. I mean, there's shadows. You'd see it gleaming and dripping and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, the pain in Harry's head made him drop to his knees. When the pain was gone, Harry couldn't see the hooded figure. Only a centaur was standing there. This centaur was younger than Bane or Ronan, and we meet Firenze, who says that the forest isn't safe right now, especially for Harry. Especially for Harry. So, I'm not going to recap the whole thing, but now Harry's in danger? Like in legit danger being in this forest?
Yeah, this is the first time, because we don't get that anything in there would be singling him out. We just know that there's danger in the forest. Firenze's the first one to say it's dangerous in here, especially for you, because he asked him, "Are you the Potter boy?"
Yeah.
You should not be here. Which is a slight twist, a slight interesting twist in the story.
It is a slight twist, which leads you to think, like, does Dumbledore know about this detention? Like, would he willingly let Harry go into the forest? I mean, he knows. I mean,
yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. How did this get passed? How did this get, like, what's the chain of command where they decided, hey, Hagrid's going in, he needs 4 11-year-olds to assist him?
It's like, so you're raising a kid, right? And you don't want them to do all the stupid things, but sometimes you got to be like, all right, do the stupid things so you can figure out not to do it. And it's like Dumbledore is just like, go ahead, Harry, figure it out. You're gonna figure it out anyway. Just go.
Well, and we know later when he gets older, Dumbledore does take that approach.
Yeah.
A few times, so we do know that. But this one,
is he taking the approach right now?
Yeah, I don't think this one is.
I mean, in the Forbidden Forest at 11 o'clock at night, it's not like it's 10 a.m. in the morning.
I still think book 1 and book 2, she's going for more fantastical
Yeah, more awe factor.
than more logical. She gets more
Yeah.
logical as the story goes.
Yeah.
But this is, while she did have a rough plan going into this book, I don't think it takes shape until, or starts to take more shape until book 3.
It's still great, but the fact that we're here talking about it, we got to be...
Yeah, knowing what we know, this is like, what is happening here?
Yeah, we got to poke at the holes. So. So he lets Harry get on his back, and then we hear more hooves coming towards him. Yes, this is a very bad thing. When they see that Firenze has a human on his back, they shame the ever-living crap out of him for acting like a common mule. I mean, anybody else would have been just devastated at the way they were being talked at.
But hey, here's a pop quiz.
Okay, let me hit.
Has nothing to do with magic.
Okay, well.
Do you know what the difference between a donkey and a mule is?
I've never once thought about it.
Really? Yeah.
No, I don't.
So a mule is more of an insult because a donkey is a breed. It is a species. It's its own thing. A mule is when a horse mates with a donkey. And the baby is a mule. And mules cannot reproduce. So the only reason you would ever get a mule is for
really
grunt work.
So if they just stop producing, that's those two specific different animals stop producing. That's it. They're extinct.
Well, I mean, obviously, when a horse is with a horse, they can create as many horses as they want to. When donkeys are with other donkeys, they can make a donkey. But when a horse mates with a donkey, a mule is produced, and mules cannot reproduce.
Huh.
Now, this is something that I learned maybe 30 years ago, so that information could be different now. But
that's never anything that's ever crossed my mind.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Now you got me second guessing myself. I gotta.
Thank you? Question mark.
Yes.
So, Firenze defends himself by saying, "The sooner that Harry's out of the forest, the better for everyone." But they just shame Firenze for acting against the heavens. Centaurs love to get information from the planets and stars. After Firenze and Harry leave Ronan and Bane, Harry asks what the creature was that was drinking the unicorn's blood. Harry learns that it's a monstrous thing to kill a unicorn, and that unicorn blood will keep you alive, even if you are just an inch from death, but at a terrible price. You will have a half-life, a cursed life, from the moment the unicorn blood touches your lips. And this is where Harry gets a little dumb, but we have to remember that he's 11. And to speak
11.
more on the centaurs, they're so mad at Firenze because they have their own beliefs, they have their own ways of doing things. And Firenze's arguing that, can't you see what's right in front of you? Can't you see what's happening? Like, quit looking up at the sky and look around and see what's happening right here. And so Firenze has a completely different way of thinking. And I think at one point Firenze was a teacher down at Hogwarts, and they're real mad at him about that for going and living and being and, subjectifying himself to their customs and everything. So didn't he get real beat up when he came back after that?
They cast him out, like they banished him. He's not going to come back. But we pick up at times in further books that there is this, not a power struggle, but wizards and witches kind of put themselves at the top of this hierarchy of magical creatures.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so goblins for instance. Goblins don't like it. House elves are now been conditioned for thousands of years to be, to be like their place is servitude. But you've got goblins that resent wizards for it. And I think that centaurs are the same.
Yeah.
Centaurs do not see themselves as less than witches and wizards.
Kind of
So
presents
therefore,
like a uniformity issue here within the wizarding world. Like a segregation that you
it's
wouldn't
like a
imagine
class.
would be there.
Yeah, it's like a class system.
Yeah.
And
It's just not something you would imagine is there. I mean, you would think, oh, it's a wizarding world. Everybody gets along. I mean, that's what I think when I think about that kind of.
Sure. No, you get, and I love.
See, that could be a whole nother stretch on the Harry Potter series, like this whole segregation thing that we have in the wizarding world.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be real interesting, actually.
I mean, especially like look, Umbridge.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite. I mean, she's the best with the pink and the cats and the short wand and the declarations and the decrees.
People hate her more than they hate Voldemort.
No, everybody loves her. Everybody. I'm gonna just let everybody think that she's a great person until we get to it, so they're shocked.
There you go.
Because they haven't read the books, right?
Yeah. Everybody listening right now has never read the books.
No, a lot of what we say is spoilers. It doesn't make any sense.
So Firenze's, explaining to Harry, and then he does go a little naive. I won't call him dumb, but dumb, naive, sure.
Well, he's not portrayed very. He doesn't come off as smart in this series. I mean,
no.
He does do the DA, so the smarts are there, but it's not really shown. I mean, I remember I read the books and I listened. No, I think I read the books. It was either when I read or listened, but I was like, man, Harry's actually kind of stupid. He's kind of a
does some dumb stuff. He does make some very dumb decisions.
He's kind of a jack too. I mean, if I'm going to be honest.
It's very at times. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say at this point, he just saw a hooded figure drinking unicorn's blood.
Okay.
His scar felt like it was on fire, and he had to be saved. So maybe he's in shock right now.
Oh, I would be.
Maybe he's in shock right now.
Oh yeah.
But Harry wonders aloud. But who'd be that desperate? If you're going to be cursed forever, death's better, isn't it? And then Firenze says, it is, unless all you need is to stay alive long enough to drink something else. Something that will bring you back to full strength and power. Something that will mean you can never die. Mr. Potter, do you know what is hidden in the skull at this very moment? And now Harry's like, the Sorcerer's Stone, of course. The elixir of life. But I don't understand who. And Firenze's like, can you think of nobody who has waited many years to return to power? Who has clung to life awaiting their chance? And then Harry's like, okay, so it's as though an iron fist had clenched suddenly around Harry's heart. Over the rustling of the trees, he seemed to hear once more what Hagrid had told him on the night they had met. Some say he died. Codswallop, in my opinion. Dunno if he had enough human left in him to die. And just then, as he's having this realization, Hermione and Hagrid catch up with Harry. Firenze leaves, wishing Harry luck, and saying that he hoped that the centaurs have read the planets wrong. Just this time.
How do the centaurs... How does Firenze know that the stone is there?
The stars must have told him. I don't know.
I didn't think about that till just now. I was like, how does he... What?
Well, we know that Dumbledore has a good relationship with all of the surrounding magical creatures. He's on good terms with the centaurs. He's on good terms with the mer people. Like he
might have told him as a precaution. It would make sense.
Just say, hey, look, Harry Potter's here, like because they knew who the Potter boy was.
Yeah,
Harry Potter's here. Voldemort. That guy, I don't think he's dead. Just, be on the lookout. But
I don't think we've explained. We can't just assume everything. So why don't you go ahead and explain what a centaur is? Just for anybody listening who doesn't know.
So a centaur is actually a wild creature. It's half horse, half man, but with 6 appendages, not 4. So it's got all 4 legs of the horse, and then where the neck would be of the horse, you actually have the top half, the torso, for kind of waist up,
Yeah.
Of a man or a woman.
And they're pretty Spartan-ish looking.
Yeah, they're very Greek,
Very muscular.
Greek mythology or Roman
yeah.
mythology. I can't remember, but yeah, they're just a magical creature that shows up in I know 1 or 2 cultures, but yeah, magical creature. And it's so funny. There's some funny memes out there because most animals, most 4-legged animals, when they are born, they're able to stand up within moments of their birth. Well, obviously, humans are not born that way. You actually don't get lower body or upper body strength until several months in. So they show pictures, like if you Google comics of baby centaurs, it's got them standing up on all 4s, but the top half, they're like,
Oh, jeez.
they're like laying over because they have no strength, like the strength of a human baby, but the strength of a baby horse.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty funny. So yeah, it's a half man, half human, half horse.
All right. I assume everybody knows, but that's what they say about people who assume.
What's it called? What's it called when it's half human, half goat?
A goatar.
No, no, because
A
that
mule.
one, a satyr,
a mule
satyr,
Oh,
a satyr, because the satyrs have the top half of a man or a human, and then the bottom half of a goat, but just 2 legs. Not 4 legs of the goat. So if you
something like that in
if you read Percy Jackson, if you read Percy Jackson, or if you watched Disney's Hercules, which I believe is one of their top 5 animated films, Phil is a satyr. But it just makes sense with 2 arms and 2 legs.
Yeah.
The 2 arms, 4 legs thing seems a bit much, but here we are.
Yeah,
I'm not going to change. Not going to change anything.
Nope, we can't. So. Not a very long, comforting thing to say, but okay.
Yeah, I hope the stars are wrong this time.
Yeah.
Why would you say that to the 11-year-old that's up past his bedtime chasing dead unicorns?
He did follow it up with something else, didn't he? Didn't he say, like, they've been wrong before? So
yeah, he said we've been wrong before. Hopefully we're wrong this time. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, well, a half, consolidation there.
Consolation.
Yeah, there you go. Well, when Harry and Hermione got back to the common room, Ron, of course, he didn't really care what's going on. He's asleep, waiting for them to come back, or maybe he just ate, or maybe he's dreaming about eating or thinking about eating. Who knows? Naturally, Harry tells Ron and Hermione everything that happened to them in the forest. Okay, so there was just 3 of them. Hermione, why wasn't Hermione there?
Hermione was there. She just says nothing. Because remember, at the beginning, Harry, Hermione go with Hagrid.
Oh, yeah, they're all separate.
And Hermione is there. But she's very quiet, though.
Yeah.
And Harry's she's the one that yells that there's red sparks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Harry's natural conclusion is that Snape wants the stone for Voldemort, and Voldemort is waiting in the forest. And Ron keeps saying, don't say his name. Stop.
Yeah.
Already, at this point, he's saying, quit saying his name. So Harry also surmises that the centaurs read the stars and knew that Voldemort was coming back and that he's going to try to kill Harry himself. That's why they were mad at Firenze for interfering and saving Harry. Which, man, if he was ever wrong about anything, this is it right here.
Yeah, a lot of this.
Yeah.
But reading it for the first time,
yeah.
You're going along with it. You're like, yeah, it totally makes sense. For sure.
Yeah. So now Harry knows what's coming, what Voldemort and Snape's plan is. Luckily, Hermione is there and reminds him that Dumbledore is the only one that Voldemort was afraid of. And while Dumbledore is around, they don't need to worry about Voldemort getting to him. Okay. Perfectly.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, they do tout that Dumbledore is the strongest wizard alive. Which,
Yes.
knowing that he has the Elder Wand, is he the strongest? So I've had this conversation before about the Elder Wand. Is he the strongest wizard because of the Elder Wand, or because he's just that good? So my opinion about the Elder Wand, I know what it's supposed to do, but does having the Elder Wand give you the confidence to believe you are the most powerful wizard, and it's not actually the wand doing it? It's just you're that big boost in confidence.
You know, she does such a good job. She does such a good job with this.
Yeah.
So when the Elder Wand was made, what was the request of the Peveril brother? Do you remember what he asks for?
I know one doesn't want to be found.
No, but the one that asked for the wand, do you remember what he asks for?
I'm just trying to think. One doesn't want to be. One wants to just live his life. One wants his wife back. But the wand?
He asks for an unbeatable wand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we know, and here's where I think JK is great. So what we learn is Death had to operate within the confines of magical law, right? So wands were a thing. Stones, the magical gems, obviously a sorcerer's stone, so stones could have magical powers. They didn't bring people back to life, which is something that no one's ever. So they did that, and then the invisibility cloak, which those are magical things. So all three things that he made, he operated within magical law. So and I love this topic. This is why I love Book 7 so much. So the wand chooses the wizard. Mm-hmm. And we learn from Ollivander that a wand can change its allegiance if won in a victory. So
a wand can also sense if its allegiance has changed.
It senses if its allegiance has changed. So we see that Harry got Draco's wand to change allegiances, and they weren't even in a magical duel. They were in a fist fight, and he took it from him. So when we look at the history that Ollivander tells of the Death Stick, the Wand of Destiny, the Elder Wand, you know, the first guy, he goes and he boasts about it, and he dies because somebody comes in, slits his throat, and takes the wand, right?
Yep.
So here's what's cool. Every time in the books, we see a wand change its allegiance because of victory, except for one time. And what is that one time? Do you know what that one time is?
The big D? Dumbledore?
No, because he defeated Grindelwald.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Grindelwald had the Elder Wand. But how did Grindelwald get the Elder Wand?
Oh. That's a good question. I could think of the scene.
It's a great question.
Yeah, I could think of it all in my head, but I can't. Because Grindelwald had the wand for a while, right?
And how did he get it?
He got it from Voldemort, correct?
No, Grindelwald's a lot older than Voldemort. This is all pre-Voldemort. Grindelwald stole the Elder Wand from Grigorovich's home or shop.
Okay, yeah.
So he didn't win it. He just stole it.
Well,
So when Harry took Draco's wand, he punched him.
Yeah,
and
they were in a
took it.
fight. Yes.
So they were in a fight. So the only instance that we have, especially with the Elder Wand, where there was no domination of the wand owner was when when Grindelwald took it from Gregorovitch. So the question is, because here's the thing, people are saying, oh, if the wand is unbeatable, how did Dumbledore defeat Grindelwald when he had the Elder Wand? The Elder Wand did not have any allegiance to Grindelwald because he didn't rightfully win it. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, you can't steal the wand. You have to.
He took it just like Ron or Neville had his dad's wand, could never use it. Ron had a hand-me-down wand, could never use it or use it well.
Somebody commented on one of my YouTube videos about Lucius Malfoy's snake wand. It's an heirloom. So does that wand work properly for Lucius?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Made me start thinking about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the allegiance never would have been. And even when you're practicing, if you're practicing and you do Expelliarmus, the wand knows you're practicing. So it does not change allegiance.
Yeah.
So wands, it's said later in the Deathly Hallows, I believe, that, Harry talks to Grindelwald. Not Grindelwald. You got Grindelwald on my head now.
Yeah.
But, man, I lost his name. Thinking Gregorovitch. That's not it either. What's the wand maker's name?
So you've got Ollivander. And then you've got Gregorovitch, yeah.
So Harry actually, he said, you talk about wands as if they have feelings. As if they're alive, So, it's... They're not just simply wands. Like a lot of people, why do you have so many wands? I mean, there's a lot to it, But besides, the fantasy of it, it's not just pick up a wand and use it. Yeah. Go get a random wand. I mean, there's so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even Voldemort later on, using the Elder Wand, he's like, it's not. Like, I'm doing great magic because I'm a great wizard.
Yeah, so that's what I get back to. So, is Dumbledore doing great magic because he's a great wizard or because he has the Elder Wand?
I would probably say more so because he's a great wizard.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Long story short,
to
answer your question.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Elder Wand is just a confidence wand.
Sure.
Nothing more. I mean.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we were almost done with this.
We were almost done with this chapter. We apologize, Potterheads.
Yes. Hey, we hope you get some joy out of this. I
regret nothing.
I regret absolutely nothing. Well, anyway, so then Hermione says that the centaurs stargazing is just like fortune telling, and that's a very imprecise branch of magic. So Hermione, being the book smart person, of course, would say there's no logic in this, which I don't disagree with because I'm a very logical person.
Sure.
So if something doesn't logically make sense, there's no way you could convince me in my head that it does make sense. I'm like, no, logically it does not.
Yeah.
It does not make sense. Therefore, you cannot convince me. Unless, prove me wrong. I'm not one to be like, no, I'm completely right. You're wrong. No, prove me wrong. Like, if you can prove me wrong, I'll say, cool, you were right. They did decide to go to bed, but there was still one more surprise in store for Harry. When he pulled his covers back to get in bed, there was his invisibility cloak right there with a note that read, "Just in case." So now, my 7-word summary makes sense.
It sure does. It sure does.
You had to wait till that last sentence to make sense of it.
Yes.
Great. Man. Okay, let's just... So for anybody listening, let me know if this is too much music in here, because I'm just going to tell you, you're wrong.
Whoa, you're
So,
wrong.
Yeah,
we
you're
love our
wrong.
music.
Yes,
we love the
our
music.
music. So I'm just going to go right into it. This was a great chapter, honestly. I don't know if it's just as we go, we get more and more into the podcast.
Sure.
It was a great chapter. There's a lot to expand upon. We saw new magical creatures, several magical creatures, the centaurs, the unicorns. Man, everything about this chat. I mean, we learned, the centaurs believe that Voldemort is alive. I mean, Forensic pretty much just said it.
Yeah.
So, and then we get the invisibility cloak back. I mean, but there's just so much to this. And we talked about the Elder Wand, which hasn't even been brought up yet. But, I have some very strong beliefs about that wand. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. You got any takeaways from this?
Well, and we come from, remember, as their 11-year-old minds, originally they're thinking that Snape is wanting to steal the stone to get rich. I'm going to steal the Sorcerer's Stone. But now they're like, Voldemort's in the forest. Snape wants the stone to give to Voldemort so that he can, live again. So at least they're getting closer to the purpose of the stone being protected at Hogwarts. And it was an action-packed, I think.
Oh, no,
it's one of the longer chapters. The next chapter's longer. For obvious reasons. I mean, we've only got 2 more chapters of book 1.
Yeah.
And so...
I mean, the absurd part of it was 11 o'clock at night, doing a 7-hour detention, we think.
Yeah.
With all these, I mean, in the Forbidden Forest, of all places, I'm pretty sure Dumbledore says at the start of the year that the Forbidden Forest is out of bounds.
Is forbidden.
yeah, I mean, and they're going right into it. But with Hagrid, so...
Yeah.
But then he does run off. It also shows, what are they thinking? What are these people thinking with these kids? There's a lot of it throughout the whole entire series. What did you say? Harry Potter and the time he almost died? Oh, there's 7 of those books.
Yeah. So if you want to be a guest on the show, look, we've got the YouTube channel Squibs Corner. You also got Jeremiah's unboxing of Harry Potter merch at Accio Potter Guy. Look that stuff up. The podcast is on several platforms. Watch the YouTube videos. And, reach out to us, Instagram, all that jazz. Leave a comment, and we'd love to get back to you, get you on the show. We will leave with this quote, because Ron just kind of highlighted why Dumbledore would say this, but fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself. Squibs Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobaugh and co-hosted by Andrew Beecham, myself. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review. To inquire about being a guest, or if you have questions, comments, or just want to give us your Harry Potter story, email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow Jeremiah's YouTube, Accio Potter Guy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram at Squibs Corner Podcast.